Hello and welcome to Mostly Vintage Cameras. This is a Pentax K1000, a very popular camera with an almost cult following. Now at some point I will make a full video about this, but in this particular video I'm just going to load a film. So all we're going to do today is how to load a film. And we're going to look at it in two ways. The way the instruction book tells you to do it, and the way I've always recommended people do it. So let's crack on with that. First we need to open the camera back, which means extending and pulling on the rewind crank. This camera back's a little bit bent, it doesn't pop open as well as I'd like. Now the instruction book will tell you to put the film in the film chamber and lower the crank, pull out above the film, and you can just about see on this take-up spool there's a slot. So we feed the leader into the slot. It's quite positive on this camera, which is nice. Now before we go any further, just like to look at how much film is bowed out here, just so I can get some purchase to load the film. So fire one frame, wind on. And what we want to do at this point is just make sure that these sprockets are engaging in the sprocket holes. We're going to close the back, which as I mentioned earlier is a little bit stiff on this one. And then we're going to extend the rewind crank and just very gently take up the tension. Fire off one more frame, wind on, and watch that rewind crank as we wind on. Now in this particular example it's turning very smoothly in a 1-to-1 ratio with the film. If you've got a new film, this is an old ruined test film, if you have a new film it might be a little bit more springy and you might only get a little, for want of a better expression, twitch out of it. But as long as it moves at all, the film is moving through the camera. And then the last thing we need to do is lift and turn this dial so that this window displays the film speed, in this case 400 ISO. So that's our camera correctly loaded with film. So let's take the film out now, and to do that it's standard fare. We push in the rewind release button, extend the crank and turn in the direction of the arrow. Because we didn't take any pictures, that didn't take any time. And there we go. That back doesn't sit close very well at all, does it? There we go. So, now I'll show you how I would load a film, or I would recommend you load a film. And it's very similar, but just subtly different. Open the camera back. And instead of putting the film in the film chamber, I'm going to take the film leader between thumb and forefinger, just wedge it firmly into the take-up spool and extend the film over. Close the rewind crank, fire and wind on. And did you notice something there? We've used an absolute minimum amount of film to get from here to here. None of this bowing frame or two of extra film that's not going to become photographs out. So doing it this way, it's quicker, it's more secure to get it on the take-up spool. Obviously check that the sprockets are engaged. Then it's as before, close the back, tension the cassette, fire, wind on, make sure this moves, fire, wind on, and again set the film speed, pull, twist. I had that set correctly a second ago, so I'll just put it back where it was, 200. There you have it. That is all there is to loading a film in a Pentax K1000. I hope you've enjoyed this or found it useful. Thank you for watching.